What's up, everybody? I don't know if you can see me yet. Just trying to get James.
What up?
Hey, what's good? You can hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Cool.
trying to get my shit situated here.
Same. Yeah, bro, you should see what I got over here. I also got like a little stand with rubber bands on it and all this fun stuff.
You got some like rig set up?
Absolutely. Mic stand, basically, or a lighting stand, and then, yeah, a rubber band to keep it all up.
Right, right. Yeah, our all like our home like makeshift studios that we got going on here.
Yes, yes.
Um, yeah, so glad to be here. What's up, man? How you doing?
I've been well, man. I'm honestly really pumped that we are getting this individuals thing back together. What's up, everybody? I'm saying hi to people as they're coming in the room as well.
What's up, people? How you guys doing out there? Yeah, so I mean, how do you want to kick this off? Do you want me to? So, fans have been not fans, but people
Followers,
out there, yeah,
people.
your followers have sent in a bunch of questions last week, and I attempted to film them at home. This is, all part of this, like we were just talking about, like our home studio learning curve, and I wasn't able to do that. But so we're gonna do this here, which I thought was pretty cool, just to do it on the live, so that other people could join in if they have any questions at some point. But we got six good questions that I'm going to answer here. Um, you want me to just roll? What's up?
Yeah, go off top, and then if anybody, I'll kind of tap in if I see anything that is coming up in the comment feed,
Hmm.
and cut you off, and let you tap in on that as well. But yeah, go ahead and start off with the first one, and let it go.
Well, you know what? Actually, before I do that, just to give some people a background on myself, my name is James Nitchie. I work for Duck Down Music. They call me Duck Down James. I've known Brennan for years. He used to be a roommate, actually, of mine with Mr. Green in Brooklyn. And yeah, and we work with, I mean, if you know Duck Down Music, we work with a ton of different artists, and we do a lot, not only on the label side, but we do a lot on the management side, a lot of stuff behind the scenes for a lot of artists that you may not even realize. And if you got questions about who some of those artists are that we rep on the management side or whatever, I'm glad to answer that stuff. But yeah, so we got, like I said, we got six good questions here. I'm going to start off with Rashawn Smith. I hope that's how you pronounce his name, Rashawn Smith. He had a good one. He said, he asked, are EPs still relevant in today's music industry? And I think so. Um, they're definitely relevant. They're a great way for any like developing artist or maybe incubating or introductory artist to get people familiar with your music. One plus side of the EP is, expenses, like, in terms of like recording, mixing, mastering, and all of that. When you're talking about putting out an EP, it's much less expensive for you as a developing artist. And as you're like starting to get the conversation going with media, radio, program directors, whoever it is, an EP is much easier to digest than a full length album. um, so yeah, they're definitely relevant, and it's a good way to prep your fan base for an album too. That's it's very common today, like with whether it's Young Ma or I can't think of any other examples off the top of my head, but right at this moment. But Young Ma, we've definitely done that with.
I would consider
We
static stuff EPs in a sense.
his albums. He's put
No,
out a lot of EPs.
he's done stuff with like artists where they'll hire him.
Hmm. Yeah, 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 yeah. He's done, and then I think he has a couple EPs floating out there too. That he's done. But yeah, it's a great way to like build up some attention and build up some interest and let people get to know who you are as you're getting to that album point. And even in between like album cycles, it's a great way to um keep content flowing, keep people interested, and keep real estate on um, you know, distribution platforms like Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that. So yeah, I think that kind of answers the question. EPs are definitely still relevant today. Um, and that's it.
Yeah, that was Character X right there who actually asked that question. He's somebody I've worked with a few times. I
Hmm.
do some artist consultations and help people out with coming up from, the closet artist to Bridge Studios where I am now, and I started with just a little M box and some KRKs and a little junky mic, and
Hmm.
it got by for years. And now you see the progression. I have a full entire facility
Hmm.
that's literally pumping out industry records. We're working on, Benny records and things at the studio where they're literally hitting the Billboard charts. And
Hmm.
7 years ago, I would have never thought that. So
Well, that's awesome.
we're, keeping Character X on that. We're going to teach him how to get to that level.
Right, right. Well, yeah, so that was Rashawn Smith.
Yes, Rashawn Smith is Character X. Yes, that's my man.
Cool. Well, yeah, shout out Rashawn. I think he's got another question that I'm going to get to here in a minute. The next question was from DJ J Hart, another homie of ours. DJ J Hart wants to know what's the best advice for marketing a single, a song with $1,000 budget. So I don't think there's any magic formula there on how you're going to spend your money. There's a lot of different ways you can go, but I think that if, in my opinion, if you're a developing artist and you want people to get interested, you're looking to get people interested in what you're doing. Um, I would suggest first you want to focus on your artwork. You want to have some strong artwork for that single. If it's even if it's a digital single and it's going up in the world, it's got to kind of like stick out, from the rest of what's going on. Um, and so that's going to be that's putting you in like I would say $150 is a fair price to get some digital artwork, just a digital single copy cover, to be able to be your placeholder out there. So $150 there, out of your 1,000. I would, and I think second step, which is the second most important, is going to be a video. And hopefully, maybe, I know there's going to be people out there that are going to say, well, who the fuck's doing a video for under $1,000? It's definitely doable. You gotta just be creative. Maybe there's somebody in your team that can help you put together a solid video. And it could be a number of different things. Maybe it's creating some sort of like interesting social media memes or something, or interesting things that might possibly go viral where you're using your song. Those are other things you can be creating too on the video end. But yeah, a strong music video, because I think we all know, like, or at least I know, like, people aren't sharing like SoundCloud links, like they used to. It's music videos, like it's music videos and videos are what's getting shared, and
Visuals and
I'm sorry.
visuals in general, I think, are
Yeah,
great.
visuals. Yeah, visuals. So
And
I would try to allocate like whatever you can out of that $1,000 minus the $150 for the cover art, um, and put that towards a video. However, you're going to get that done. It's definitely doable. And then I would try to have a good like $120 saved out of that $1,000 to devote to maybe some Instagram and Facebook ads, targeted ads, because you could probably, for about $120, I'm pretty sure you could, depending on how many people you're trying to target and how long your campaigns are, which I would suggest, maybe 6-day campaigns at a time. Um, you could probably run for a few weeks between Facebook and Instagram for around $120.
absolutely,
Uh,
yeah.
so so I'd carve that out. So that's it as far as like what my best advice. And again, let me stress, there's no perfect combo. You can go, if you can get a billboard someplace and for $1,000 and you want to do that and you think that's going to be effective in your area or whatever, go ahead, do it. But I'm going to stick to the basic important parts, which are artwork, music video, and some social media ads to help draw attention to your product. So that's my answer there. Peace to JR. The next question here was from Rashawn Smith. Rashawn Smith, this is again, peace to Rashawn, says, what does an artist have to do to guarantee that their first single is a hit? And that's a fucking, that's like a crazy question. Yeah, right. We don't know. We don't know, you know? Let me give you an example. Like, you know what you can help do to make sure that a single is a hit? First of all, well, I'm gonna refer to Young M.A., right? She had the single "Ooh." I'm sorry, yeah, "Ooh," right? And she's had gold records since, you know, but that was the first, you know, platinum record that she had, and that was 2016. And we didn't know, we had no idea that was going to be a hit. She had, now keep in mind, she had been building her fan base, her very like rabid YouTube centric fan base for like 3 or 4 years at that point, right? And she had amassed, like, I think at the time she had hundreds of thousands of followers, or subscribers, you know, to YouTube, and I don't know, I don't even know, I don't think she was even pushing 1 million on Instagram.
No.
But prior to that single happening, right, that we didn't know, we just kind of woke up one day and we were like, oh shit, like, whoa, like what the fuck is going on? Like something's going on here. You know, so as we're seeing, like, every day the video views are going up, you know, 500, you know, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000. But prior to all that, right, before the single even happens, you're talking about a good solid, I think, I think we had a good solid 2 years of working with her, where we kept the conversation going with her, right? We were spending nights, or she was spending nights out in the club, like every night of the week, passing her music. Drew Ha was out there, you know, with her, keeping the conversation, introducing her to, you know, the tastemakers, to media, to club promoters, to DJs, to, you know, everyone. Keep doing the rounds, basically. You know, that's what you're doing. You're doing the rounds when you've got a new artist that you want to introduce to people. And so we did that, and there was no denying that she was dope. Like that was like the common theme here between all of the one that we were talking about, is there was no denying that she was dope. But one thing they also all said was, she just doesn't have that hit yet. You know, she just doesn't have that thing that I can plug in at the club at this time, or she doesn't have that thing that's going to fit during this program on our radio station or whatever, you know? And so we just had to keep going. You just have to be consistent, you know, and that's what you need to do in the meantime, while you're like waiting for a hit or wondering when something's going to hit. You got to already be on your next, you know, your next move to your next thing. Yeah. And building. And that speaks to also, you know, focusing on your singles, you know, don't put, you're an artist, right? Go out and work on your albums and develop your albums and have those. But like, what's going on right now, I think it's in the music world, it's much more effective to like kind of focus on that single and take it single to single, and you know, whether that's making sure you have a music video for each one. Again, you're just reaching out and letting everybody know, and you know, and keeping the conversation going with every one of these singles, you know, until, you know, maybe something hits. You don't know. But yeah, the point being, like with M.A., again, it was a couple years of solid work, like in and out of a lot of doors, you know, and again, you can be as dope, like just like in her case, they said, you know, like there's no denying she's dope, but she just didn't have the single yet. You know, she didn't have that thing, and then Ooh happened. And it was organic, you know. She wasn't sitting in the studio. Like, there's nobody that comes in the studio with you and has like the fucking hit program and plugs it in, you know, hit plug in. You know, like
I remember that too, when we were at Baby's All Right, and I think me, you, Drew Ha, and then all of Young M.A.'s squad and her huge fan base, and they put Ooh on, and that was the first time, like, we looked around. I remember us looking around and being like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's been on for about a minute now, and everybody's singing the track.
They know every word. Yeah. And they're louder than her, like you know, at a lot of these venues.
Yeah. About time.
So yeah, there's no way to guarantee that your song is going to be a hit, but just take heed to my advice. Be consistent. Keep your music coming consistent. Make sure it's clean. Make sure it's cleanly presented. I would say, make sure all your channels out there. Make sure all your channels are all cleaned up. Make sure your banners are looking sharp on all your platforms, your Apple Music, your Spotify. Keep all that shit updated. Keep everything fresh. Just keep moving fresh. Keep working. Keep writing songs, and keep the conversation going. And that's if you're talking locally, that's wherever you can, with your local record store, with your local promoter, with your local other artists, with your local producers, with your local radio.
Like you
If they
said,
don't,
you do also have to, like you did say, keep it clean. You do actually have to have a clean version of your song too, because a lot of, me coming from the studio side, if you're gonna have that song,
but
DJs
yeah,
will.
I would want to make sure that you're talking anytime you're stepping out of the studio with any project, you should always have MP3 and wave versions of and clean and dirty of all the versions too. It's great if you can get the instrumentals and the acapellas, but like that's not really necessary. But yeah, always get your cleans and your explicits, and make sure you have MP3s and waves of both, because most platforms, you're uploading waves. Any kind of like distro, any kind of digital distro you're doing is waves. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, perfect.
All right, cool.
It's good out there. It looks like
So
talking to us, so it seems like they can hear us fine.
I got so that was that 3 questions so far. I got another question here. I got another question here from Shane N. I don't know if Shane's watching right now, but Shane N wants to know general tips for finding a team and or an internship. Let's start with the internship, right? So with an internship, I would recommend just reaching out. Just reaching out if there's a label that you are interested in working with. I mean, first of all, it's identifying like where do you want to be. Any old internship, like you really gotta target it, like whatever it is you want to do. Record label, media company. If there's a promoter you want to like locally that's really dope, and you want to intern for him and help him out and learn some ropes because you're into stage production or something, or concerts, go for it. Are you an artist? That's actually, it would be nice to know if Shane is referring to something specifically as far as like an internship, but
If you're here,
find out.
tap
Yeah.
in the kind of elaborate on that if you are here.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, find out where you want to be, right? And today, man, it's so much easier, especially with social media.
Yeah.
You can DM these people. I mean, no lie, like even with Duck Down, we get DMs occasionally. Yeah, I can't even remember how Brennan. I don't even remember, man. But Brennan's done work for us. And but yeah, even with Duck Down, we've taken, I'd say, a good handful of DMs that came. Somebody sent their resume and was interested, and if we thought they fit the bill, then we'd get them in. And we typically bring in interns for like the summer, and we can give them college credit, or whatever it is. If they need school credit, we were always able to handle that, and most places will. Most places will be able to, if you're looking for, if it's for school credit or if it's just for personal, whatever. But yeah, reach out to those places. I'd try DMing, go to their websites. If it's a record label or something, there's got to be some contacts. Maybe you can even do some digging and figure out who works at those labels and find those people's, Instagram, or Twitter or something, and message them there. I wouldn't really fuck with people on Facebook. I don't think, I wouldn't waste my time trying to hit people there, but that's just my opinion. Twitter, Instagram, if you're going to be doing it cold, like, if you're doing like cold calls to these people. But the best way is if you can get an email. Emails are always appreciated. So if you can find these people, find the contacts that you're looking for, send them an email. Make sure you have like a clean resume, and your experience isn't going to be necessarily the most important thing, because you're coming into an intern position. It's more about, just having something clean and presentable that, reflects like whatever your experience is, and So always have that, and keep throwing darts, man. Like I tell you, even before before I got the job full time at Duckdown, I was going. I'm from Rochester, New York, right? So that's where I was at before New York City, and prior to moving to New York and getting the job at Duckdown, I was coming down for like a year and a half. I was driving back and forth for about a year and a half, dropping off resumes, knocking on every door, going up into every label, agency, and I probably looking back, I had a fucking whack resume. Like I had a whack resume, and that's probably why I didn't get like paid attention to, I would say, with a lot of the companies. Duck Down didn't happen through that way though. Duck Down was like a personal. I knew someone. I knew this guy Matt Blackley who was doing social media for Duck Down at the time, and he's also from Rochester. And I hit him up when I was like at my like last attempt to find like an industry job ahead of moving into New York. And dude, he sent over an email to Drew that day. This was 2013. He sent over an email to Drew out that day and Noah, and they called me back in like 2 hours, and I went up to New York, and
So you would
um,
say it's very important to network.
yeah. Very important to network. And if you if you're looking to get, yeah, absolutely, it's important to network, because even besides doing the going in and out of the offices and dropping off resumes and stuff, I was coming down and going to events like for years ahead of that, like 2 years ahead of that, and I would go down like 2 times a month. And that's how I met like Brown Bag All Stars, and that's how I met all the cats at Fat Beats. And it was just like it was easy. It was, yeah, it was kind of easy. It was like you just go down and meet people, dude. And if you got something to offer, people are going to be interested. Because I can't tell you how surprised I was. A guy from Rochester, New York, who I knew I had experience, and I thought I knew what I was doing, um, but I was really surprised to see that, like, when you just take the initiative, you go down there, going, in my case, going to New York, and spending time with these people and going to every fucking event and just going to the record stores and just like knowing who's who and shaking hands. And if you're a personable person, people are going to gravitate towards, and like I said, more importantly though, is I had something to offer. I had my own company at the time, and I was working with a lot of these like, underground local artists and regional artists, and I could do something for them too. I wasn't just coming down and asking for things, and I had something to offer. I could do things for them, and that's why there was like a mutual respect. And I think, and going, I guess, back to my point, I was really just surprised. It was really surprising to me, like going down there and um I remember one day this dude told me, he's like, dude, we need a guy like you down here. And I'm like, what? I'm like, this is New York City. Like, what the fuck do you need me here for? Like, and they're like,
11,
no,
you need me?
yeah. I was like, wow. And that's what really fueled my fire. And that was, after like about a year or two, this, I don't know, whatever year, but yeah, that fueled my fire. I was like, oh shit, I can do this, and you should feel that way too as you're looking for an internship. Just keep to the grindstone, man. And damn it, like I said, I wish I knew more about like what he was trying to do in terms of internship, because I could offer even better advice, depending on like what industry or what part of the industry he's trying to get into too.
Right.
But brings me to what is it? My last. I'm just gonna keep. There was a Dan. So Dan Stewart had a question, and it's a two-part question. Um, I'm gonna answer. So to answer his first question, he says, "I make a lot of EDM and house beats, but I'm having trouble finding people to sing on them. Is there a good way to find singers?" Um, there's a lot of great ways to find singers. I don't know where you're hanging out. If you're in studio, well, right now with COVID, it's a different story. People aren't really in studios, but if it was normal times, I'd say hang out in recording studios if you can, you know, places, and you're gonna pick up on some singers. Even, you know, maybe if there's a singer that you like, that you've heard someplace on a song, find out who that singer is and reach out. Find out who they are, go hit their DM, like introduce yourself. If there's a specific piece of music that you want, that you're interested in them, you know, getting on, then maybe send them a little snippet and explain your project. You know, be brief. They don't need your life story, but you know, just let them, you know, give them a little background on who you are, and tell them you know, compliment them. Obviously, you like them, you like their voice, make them feel good. Um, Again, yeah, and let them know what your project is, and see, and let them know how maybe you see them fitting in, and then take it from there. Um, I would just start, you know, there might even be like a website. I can't think of like a specific website off the top of my head right now, but if you Googled, you know, like talent sites,
We're on one of the best websites currently. We're on the one of the best apps to find talent. Like I personally find so many artists that I listen to via Instagram or even say Spotify, and then I'll go and look at their Instagram and be like, oh my goodness, this person only has 7,500 followers or whatnot. And at
hmm
that point, usually somebody you can DM.
hmm
So
hmm
that,
and don't be afraid to shoot for the stars either, you know, like don't be afraid
yeah,
to like aim high, because if there is like somebody that you think, oh, well, they're never going to work with me. Nah, man, you never know. Music is music. Music speaks. You don't have to be like, get out of your head, like get out of your own head, and just like, but make sure your approach is right. You know, that's another thing that I think a lot of people need to finesse, is their approach, you know, like, and just how they're talking to people. I think it's, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if this is a good comparison, but it's like, you know, a guy talking to a girl, or a girl talking to a guy, versus vice versa. If they're interested in them, you know, there's like a certain amount of like finesse, you know, um, professionally. You know what I'm saying? There's some keywords here and there, you know, as you're presenting yourself, and ways to, like, you know, inform people about you, but you don't need. It's almost like, you know, that saying, like, say less. Like, I get it, you know. Um, Yeah, yeah, presentation is everything there. But yeah, yeah, dig around. I'm trying to think of some other places, maybe some singers. Yeah, you know, dig around, find singers, and maybe there's a hashtags like vocalist on Instagram, and you might find somebody. So I would
right.
maybe start getting creative like that, you know. And another like really basic one is a Craigslist ad. It sounds crazy, but like put out a Craigslist ad. People respond to those. Or
Facebook,
there's even, what's
Instagram,
up?
Instagram post, a Facebook status,
I was
any
gonna say, yep. I was gonna say that same thing. A nice, clean kind of image that just says, "Hey, seeking female." I think he said, oh, he said singers, so he wasn't speaking females, but you know, singers or whatever. Even like, dude, like, let's go local to your Nextdoor app, right? You could use your Nextdoor app and put out a post. I know there's music communities on those places. And
yeah.
especially if you're in like a metro area, you're gonna find a handful of people, I'm sure. You know, and then you just got to sift through and see who works and what you like, and um, you know, if it fits your project. I hope that helps. I hope that. I mean, what do you think? Is that
I think that's a great answer. I'd obviously say, well, dealing with COVID and everything, we're in a different time. But once shows open back up and everybody can start going out again,
yeah?
I step out. If you see a show, go to it. It might not be the exact genre you're into, but there's so many people that can sing in different genres. Like, what was the Joey Badass and was it Kaisa? I want to say
Yeah, yeah. What project was that?
more EDM-y though. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
OD, hip hop, boom bap. So
yeah.
two converge where it's where you wouldn't normally think. So don't be afraid to go to these different genre.
hmm
Go to a jazz show tonight, open mic, and then an EDM show.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah, and there's a lot of people that are singers that you don't even know. Because it depends on, I guess, what this, you know, what you're looking for as vocalist. But I know there's some people that I would have never guessed had like like a pretty decent recording voice. And you know, depending on if you were trying to do some like a ethereal, like fucking EDM shit, Like I've been very surprised, you know. So yeah, just yeah, if it was normal times, you're right. Like going to open mics, going to shows, going to local shows especially, um, because you know you can approach those people, you know.
Comment says he's using the hashtag R&B to find people as well, and he's a singer.
There you go. Yeah,
Um,
that's what I was saying. Like hashtag vocalist, hashtag R&B singer, you know, hashtag metal singer, like whatever, you know, whatever you're looking for. That's a good idea too. He also, so Dan Stewart also asked uh, about, well, he said he made a lot of remixes, but I don't want to drop them without permission. And he also asked about like clearing records. I don't really know how to answer that. He said I made a lot of remixes, but I don't want to drop them without permission. He said, how do I go about reaching out to these people? I'm just kind of paraphrasing because I didn't write down the whole question. But um, when it comes to reaching out for copyright permissions, a lot of times if it's like a major artist, it's going to be tough to get at them directly about any of that. And 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, they're not even going to give a fuck. Like they're going to, that's not even their business. You know, they don't own the master, and they don't own any of the, you know, the publishing rights or anything like that. So if you are looking for permission, you need to find out who the master source is. And a lot of times you can go to I think like ASCAP, BMI, CCAN, or like all of the collection agencies. They have databases where you can look up and you can find out like who's the parent label or whatever for this, or who's the master owner for this piece of music, right? So you're going to need that master right. You're going to have to talk to somebody about publishing. There's going to be publishing splits. Um, and you know, you just present to them when you're reaching out and saying, hey, you know, here's this piece of music. I'm looking to use this sample. You know, you want to let them know the time code. You want to send them the clip. You want to send them maybe a sample of what you actually put together with that sample, right? Be pretty thorough. You know, you want to be thorough about it, and explain your intent. Intent is really important when you're reaching out to different people for clearances. You know, because a lot of times they have the absolute control. They could tell you, hey, I'm not even interested in my sample being in a part of what you do. Like you're a fucking scumbag, and like this is a Christian song, and we're not gonna, you know what I mean? Like they could say that shit, or they could see the value. Hopefully somebody smart is on their side, and they could see the value in the fact that they know that they're gonna get paid if they do sign this deal. You know, this fucking licensing deal. Um, and they could also have control of how that music is, how it's used, how that sample is used. So if you use it to make something fucking like crazy and like, I don't know, whatever, like offensive or something like that, then you know they have the rights to say no. um
I think there's a whole new thing now too, well, where you can, like if you're not going to try and monetize it yourself, they'll obviously let it fly, but they themselves are just going to monetize it.
well, yeah, that's okay. Well, in terms of like, let's just say I mean, there's some of them there, like, I'm going to be honest, like if it's anything under the Universal Music Group,
Yeah.
good luck. Good luck. It's not going to live. And I'm saying, like, if you make something, right? If you take a piece of something that's owned by Universal Music Group at some point, and then you put it into your song, and it's detectable in, you know, in these filters or whatever, as you're uploading stuff to YouTube and SoundCloud, et cetera. And I would say more specifically, your DSPs like Spotify and Apple, and maybe SoundCloud, but well, yeah, probably SoundCloud too. They're pretty good too now. But yeah, and YouTube. So yeah, say you take that piece of music and you put it up. One of two things can happen. All right. So you can either you're either not going to be able to monetize that video or that song or whatever it is that you put up on your YouTube account, right? That's using that piece of music, or and then I'm sorry, not or. You can post it up. You can try to but you're not going to be able to monetize it. And the parent label, which is going to be Universal Music Group, is going to then claim it. And what they're doing there is they're saying like they're basically saying like we don't hate this and we're gonna fucking make the money off of it anyways. And if you made something cool, you basically just like did some work for us, and we're just gonna let you have the views, and that's cool with us, or they could do a takedown, just a full takedown. And then if you have three like takedowns, and there's varying degrees of takedowns on YouTube, but if you have three of them, three strikes, that channel's donezo. So
Good news. I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know that one.
Yes. So
Good to
you
learn.
can, yeah, it's possible. It's still possible. Like, and you know what? The remixes are a great way to get attention. I mean, we've still done them. Young Amay's done them. We've got another artist we work with, Gutta 100. It's his video with his highest views. I think it's got like 1 million plus or whatever. Um, Compared to his 35,000, 50,000 views on his other videos. So, and it helps. It does. It's a good thing to do if you want to get and you know what? That's how Young and May got picked up originally, anyways, was her Chirac freestyle.
True,
And,
true.
and yeah, and funny story. Yeah, funny story about that track is that flew under the radar for like a long time before the parent label picked up on it and then started collecting on it. But they couldn't get any retro money off of it. But we don't monetize. She doesn't monetize off it anymore. So, yeah, that's what I got to say about. I don't know if that answers everything. I feel like there's something I'm missing here in terms of like the sample stuff. And I'm not trying to get like deep into I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney. So there's a lot of questions I couldn't even answer. But yeah, I mean, does that,
It's a
is there
very
any,
area, very like I feel too. Just like that's why it depends on like your relationship with the artist or the license holder or whatnot too. Because like you said, like I feel like anything can almost happen depending on like there's situations that can happen, but like if they know they can monetize it and I'm already in the circle of like Universal because there's obviously old songs and new artists that are on
hmm.
Universal and they can already be in the studio knowing what's going to happen. So like,
Oh
some people,
yeah.
things like that. Like, and I know that's not what these guys are talking about, but just there's so many different situations that can
Hmm.
possibly
Hmm.
happen.
Yeah, I mean, like in the case of like when Clinton Sparks, he wanted to do a remix of one of Young M.A.'s songs. I think he did an Ooh remix. He did like a dubstep remix, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Um, and with that one, that was a case of, we've known him for years. He has a relationship with us. He reached out. I think it was a DM, like he DM'd me or he might have texted me or whatever. But it was a more of a personal connection. He's like, "Yo, I really want to do this. I want to do this Young M.A. remix, but I want to do it official." I said, "All right, cool. I'm gonna plug it in." And I plugged them in with Drew and Noah, and they handled the business with them. And we were able to work that through, and it was not that difficult, and it's really not that crazy. I mean, and it's
Right.
funny sometimes, like depending on what sample you're talking about, it's 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 you never know who you're going to be working with. I mean, if you're going to Universal, it's the same fucking thing every time. They're going to send you the papers, you're going to sign the papers, and you're going to either do the deal or you're not, or it's going to be a little more personal. When sometimes like when you're sampling something like from a band in fucking Canada that hasn't been played since like 1974, and you're like talking to the sister of the dude who used to sing in the band, but he's dead now. And like and you have to get her approval. It's kind of like a cool kind of process. It's not always just like going to the clearance house and trying to say, it's like, it can be interesting. I mean, even with Shaka Khan, I think, or what was it Shaka Khan? I forgot who it was with the Beautiful Life uh, single. I think that was Chaka Khan. Um, that was a cool story too. But she pretty much owns that song though. That was a case where, and that's another example. Like that's another thing that can happen too. It's like how strongly do you feel about the song? Because here's what could happen. You could reach out to that person, right, about the sample. You play them the piece of music, and they're like, yeah, it's all right, but here's our terms, and they're gonna pretty much take everything, on every side. And then you're left with about 5%, like literally, like very, very literally 5%, of any kind of share on, what that single is capable of doing. So in that case, it's a matter of like, that's more of like an artistic call, it's where it's like this just song has to just be, and it has to be this way. And I, as an artist, feel that strongly. So I'm willing to waive that. So anytime that song's been used, Beautiful Life, Static Selective's song with Action Bronson and Joey, that one in particular that I'm thinking of, every time it's licensed or used or whatever, those checks go to, I think it's Chaka. I'm pretty sure it's Chaka Khan. And I don't know who the parent label is. That could have been a Universal too. But yeah, there's a, I don't know where I'm going with that, but I hope that answers the question. I hope I'm answering the question, or at least if I'm not answering the question the best, I'm giving you some insight.
That should have definitely answered it. And I mean, we can
Yeah.
always go back in on that if they want to ask some more in depth on the comment section.
He said, "What are some?" Oh, you pinned that. I got you.
Question
What are
that
some tips? Huh?
I had pinned a question at the bottom, if you can see that, from No Label.
Oh, yeah. You know what? There was a second part of that question I didn't answer. There was a question about, general tips for finding a team. That's what it was. That was from Shane N. So, general tips for finding a team. Again, no magic solution, right? But try to have, like, I would try to keep things in your circle. Keep things with people you know and trust.
Trust.
Especially, trust. Trust is big, and especially on the business side. If you're an artist, right? I think it's important for you to have a guy that maybe he may not have like a whole bunch of like music industry experience, and I think that's okay. But if you have a guy that understands business to any degree, has a good temperament, right? He can talk to people, and is also a good negotiator, right? But also has a good business demeanor, all of that. You need a guy like that in your corner to represent you. Maybe he can, you don't need to ask a lot out of him. You need to find a guy that can help you, and maybe he can devote, 3 to 5 hours a week, and depending on what your relationship is and how you guys interact to begin with, but he can devote maybe 5 hours a week to, your cause, helping you organize things. Someone that's organized, you want to find somebody that's like organized, and understands the platforms, and again, like the long-term music experience, not necessarily so important, but someone who has a good understanding of how to present you, and some sort of business experience somehow, that's going to be important. And again, I think that's going to be somebody close to you. You need a video. I think you need to have strong video support with whatever you're doing, right? That could be you, but with my experience with artists we work with, the rappers are not shooting their videos. We have other people to do that, and they can't focus on that. So we've got, I think it's going to be important for you to find a decent video person or good, if you can find them, and somebody that's willing to work with you locally to build content, shoot music videos, follow you around, kind of catch your day to day. It doesn't have to be every day, but at least devoting like 5 to 10 hours a week on you, and working on creative projects with you. How are you going to find this video person? maybe I would look into your local colleges. Because this worked for me. I went to, I would go to a local university or school that had a film department. I would find guys, like young students, who were, if they weren't just looking to get their name out there, they were looking for experience, and they wanted to, and they liked what was going on too. Like they were hip with, with the music that they were shooting the videos for, or, whatever we were doing, they were cool with it. So yeah, that's a good place. Craigslist ad, it's almost like you got to like seek employees. So put out some ads saying, hey, I'm looking for somebody to help me with video projects, 10 hours a week, and be upfront. Be like, I'm an introductory artist. And you may not have like much of a budget to work with, if anything. But hopefully you can find some support locally, somebody that believes in you, somebody that's got a camera and can help you out there. But I think it's important, like you can't be looking for handouts either. Like you need to make sure you're taking care of these people. So if in this case, I'm talking about a video guy, you really got to like think about what you need to do to put money into that dude's pocket, and keep him fed. That's really important. You shouldn't be out there asking for freebies. You'll get freebies. People, I think creative people that want to work with you and are excited about working with you they're gonna go the extra mile, and to help you out. I work with a lot of great people like that, but you can't expect it. You need to offer something. And so, your team is going to be, like a day-to-day person. You're going to have some sort of video. And then, maybe it's just a couple people that are around you that are kind of hip to like what's going on in the music industry, and just getting them to believe in you. And that's going to be organic, there's no magic formula for that, for getting people interested and attracted to you to be in your circle, but you have to be hustling. You've got to already be out there, with ideas and with the music to back it, if you, before any of these people can even do anything, if you're not supplying the music and the content and the creative ideas and stuff like that, then they have nothing to work with. So that's going to be really important. Yeah, and then your team will build too, but like at the very basic level, like just somebody that gives a shit about you, is looking out for your best interests, can represent you, can help you tie, your ends together and help you get set up, whatever that means, whether it's cleaning up your all of your distribution platforms or social media platforms, or maybe they're helping you. Maybe that person's also he knows a photographer locally, and he can go get you some shots. Might cost you a few bucks, but he knows somebody you can get some, some solid shots done. Somebody who's helping you organize something like that. I think that, well, all those things, on a day-to-day level, and that's going to come from probably somebody close to you, unless someone comes to you, like, because I don't know, maybe they believe in you so much, they're going to come and find you and offer their help. But I definitely think in most cases the teams come from home, people that understand you and will stand by you. So I don't know if that answers that.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer for sure. And that also, in like a short answer, that basically goes back to the whole networking and brushing shoulders with people that are in the same thing, that you truly just gotta be.
People will come to you, dude.
Yeah.
If people are feeling you, if you're an artist and there's let's just say there's a graphic designer out there, that's another plus too, is like, if you can, yes, thank you. That reminds me. So when you are finding a team, I think graphics are really important. It goes back to what I was saying about, cover art as part of your budget, for each one of your singles or projects. Though the best way to find those guys, in my opinion, is Instagram. Like straight up, go just look up hashtag graphic design, look up hashtag whatever you're into, and you'll end up finding like all kinds of crazy fan art for different artists, or I mean, we have fucking piles and piles of fan art that people send, of like Sean Price or Boot Camp Click or whatever, and so that's how we've found a lot of our guys. They'll tag us in something, and then we go check them out. I'm like, oh, this dude's sick, and this dude's doing our next album cover or whatever. Yeah, Instagram is huge. It's a great way. Just look up the right hashtags: graphic design, graphic artists, album covers, art covers, whatever it is, and you can usually find somebody solid. And I think going back to that point too, as a reminder, like I think the $150 range is a fair range for a square art piece that's gonna be your placeholder for a digital single. But yeah, like now going back to where I was saying about finding a team in terms of finding a graphic designer, we've had, if people are into you and they like you and stuff, people are gonna end up just coming to you. We get people all the time that like want to do art for us, or they want to do, or they made something. It could be they didn't even ask us. They just made something and sent it to us, and they're like, yeah, this is I was inspired by you or whatever, and maybe you can find some people like that.
To add on, like
yeah.
I remember when Sean P had passed, rest in peace. But I literally remember that was one of my jobs. I was looking up every single picture that we could ever find of Sean P on Instagram, and there were so many different great artists that I'm sure you guys have contact and get in touch with, just to from that whole thing. And
Oh yeah, when Sean died, the artwork came fucking flooding in,
insane.
like everywhere. Yeah, that's how we found a ton of people through that.
And also to say, I'm nowhere near Duck Down or anything, or I'm not even the same type of thing as Duck Down. And with individuals, we have people that have been throwing us graphic design because they see like as a team we're hustling and things like that. And of course, we pay 95% of what we do, but there are people that shoot us content and say, hey, I really like what you're doing. Is there a way I can get involved? Check out this little graphic I did. And like, see us compared to you, we have like what, 1,000, 2,000 followers or something like that. I don't even know how many we have. And you guys have 50,000 to 100,000 or 200,000. I don't know what it is, but
what, the IG followers?
Yeah.
217 right now.
There we go. So that's what I'm saying. Like, as long as people just see that you're hustling, like you said, people will be attracted to that hustle and be like, all right, I need to get myself some more work. So let me get involved with somebody who's hustling. So somebody who else sees that can maybe get me for work. So it's like kind of a exponential thing.
Absolutely. So that's what's up.
No, what were we gonna say?
I was gonna say that's the questions, and I hope everybody that's been tuning in, got something out of this, because I'm excited to do this more. Like we could do this every Wednesday. I was talking to Brennan here, and this is gonna be added to the IGTV here, so you can go back and watch it if you want to. You can even, feel free to drop if you're watching this, you have questions, drop them in the comments too once it's posted to IGTV. And if I can, I'll go back through like in the next few days and try to answer people's questions in there as well. Yeah.
Let's take one more question from the comments right now. So if everybody just wants to throw a question in the comments, and we'll pick one from there, and then we'll wrap it up. And
you can ask me anything too. I don't give a. It could be marriage advice.
Oriented.
I don't.
Ask them about those goofy glasses.
Ask me about those bills, son.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
I love the hometown, but yes, I love my Saints too.
All right. So what's the question we got?
All right, Knee-High. Let's hear what you got to say. Knee-High 23. What
I
would you?
saw the how important is lyrical storytelling. That's an artistic question that I don't even know how to answer.
I was gonna
It's
say, yeah,
it's it's all a matter of taste, you know. I think storytelling is important though. You know, like I was watching Dave recently, right? You know, Dave on Hulu. Yeah,
whatever.
Lil
So,
Dicky's show, right? And you know, I would how regardless of how anybody feels about Lil Dicky, like what's captivating about him is his storytelling. You know, and I
yeah,
know he's not the first. You know, you got your Slick Ricks, you've got your Buckshots, you know, you've got so many. I mean, just countless amounts of rappers, you know, who are great storytellers, and I think that is important. Yeah, and I think you're going to find that there are people that are going to find that important. So do you? And if you
yeah.
feel like, and if you don't feel like storytelling, and you just talk, you know, want to fucking rap about fucking off or whatever, and having a good time or whatever it is you're doing, go for it too. Do whatever you want, man. But stories are fun. Stories are cool. Stories, especially if they're done well, you know, um, and you know, clever or whatever, or just solid stories.
So,
Yeah.
Knee 3 asked, I saw, and I kind of want to tap in on this as a beat maker. So, he asked,
Hmm.
a good way for someone like me who makes beats to hook up with MCs. I should have introduced myself as we started. I don't know if I did on Beats Anonymous, by the way. That's my producer name. I actually am sitting on a whole bunch of music that's about to come out, and with a ton of artists that I personally, about 2 or 3 years ago, would have never guessed I could have had music with. And truly, a lot of it is just from being on Instagram and following these artists, listening to their music. Like we said, how you would find these people that you want to work with for photography, going to your weekly radar on Spotify, finding new artists, because a lot of those new like weekly radar people are like pretty up and coming people who are still, under that like 10,000 follower cap. So they're checking their own Instagrams and stuff like that. So
Right.
hit them, write them. I got beats. Here's 5 beats. Hit me back if you
Yeah.
like them.
Yeah. My suggestion too to add on to that is like when you are sending beats, I'd keep it to like five. Five is perfect. Like no
Yeah,
more than that. You don't want to send them a big ass folder because they're not going to get through it. And then you also don't know like you never know, but it's just better safe than sorry. You know, if you send out a big pack of beats and then fucking one of them slips through the cracks and somebody gets confused because you sent them so many beats that they had a pile of beats and they got confused and they thought they just had it and it was theirs and then they put that song out and all of a sudden you're pissed. You know, like I don't know. I'm just saying that's happened. So keep it to a minimum.
for sure.
My suggestions too is don't send it via Dropbox. Don't send them beats via Dropbox. Send them a private SoundCloud link
Yeah,
that they can't download. Um, and you know, they're not most times they're not going to take the time to try to rip it. You know, but I would just this is always the safest bet. That's industry standard. We do that right now. You know, we'll put together a private SoundCloud link and send it if we need, you know, people to check out something. But as an MC, yeah, reach out with those private SoundCloud links. Don't send more than like 5 beats. Network too. Networking is huge. There was this program that happened well, it was happening all over the country, but it started in New York. It was called Steel Sessions, and that was a producer focused studio session that would happen over the course of a weekend at like Engine Room Studios in New York, or they would do it at like Bridge Studios in Boston, um, or other places that they had traveled. And so it was like a producer seminar for the whole weekend. But other artists were coming in, and they would bring in guests and stuff like Dave East and you know, I can't think of the other rapper, but Dave East was a definite regular, and so, yeah, going to things like that, and again, I know COVID, not a lot of people aren't hanging out in studios like that, or there aren't those events going on. But look for those events. Maybe there's virtual events like that are going on where you can, you know, Clubhouse. What's up? You know, what's up with Clubhouse? Where I'm just starting to kind of get my feet wet in that space, and Clubhouse seems like a great spot to be able to connect with people. Maybe because what I'm seeing is a lot of people are playing their music over that platform for other people, and there's like rooms for that now. You know, so I don't know how that sounds. I'm curious to know like how, you know, if you are playing beats for somebody, how do you really get it through that audio?
Right.
but maybe it's just a good starting point for people to get connected, you know, things like that. Yeah, and then yeah, the reach out. I'd say the direct reach out. You like the rappers, send them your fucking beats, man. Like the rappers are always looking for beats.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
I'll session sometimes with rappers at my studio. Like they'll literally just be sitting there and like, yo, let me go through my email real quick and see what I got.
hmm
And then boom, 20 minutes
yeah,
later.
and with all your emails, man. Again, I can't stress enough when you're communicating with people, whether you're looking for an internship or trying to find a team or reaching out about a sample clearance or you know it's whether you're looking for MCs as a producer, your reach out and how you approach people is really important. So like let's lose the life story, keep it short and quick, and your music is going to speak more for you, you know. And the people that you're reaching out to will appreciate the brevity of your you know of the conversation too, you know. So yeah, that's it.
Hey man, I think we covered everything. We took those questions from all the people in the comments. Guess we could wrap it up. I'm sorry, I just saw like 3 people just joined the room as we're wrapping it up. But if you
It's
guys
all
want,
right.
we're gonna post it on the IGTV, so you can post it up. I think one. Hey, what up, Mark? Top Shelf Premium.
What up?
The
What
home.
up, son?
Haven't seen you in a while.
So
But
yeah, so we're gonna rip this and upload it to YouTube and Facebook for people to watch, and it will be on the Indie Visuals IGTV page here shortly. So just make sure you fucking post that to IGTV, son.
yeah, I'm kind of nervous. I'm saying, what do I do next? What do I do next?
Yeah, just follow the prompts. Just fucking look carefully.
All right,
Yeah.
y'all.
All right. All right. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to more questions. Like I said, I'll once this is posted to IGTV, I'll go and I'll be checking back to like see if anybody had any like further questions or whatever. And do you want to let them know the email, or do you want to put that? Yeah, just put the email in the description
Gonna
when
be
you
in the
post it. Yeah,
and in
and
section, or
yeah, and you
not
get
bio section.
right, and then you guys can send in your emails or your questions to that email, and we'll do this again next week.
Hey,
Peace, bro.
be easy, peace.
Peace. I'm gonna let you cancel
Yeah,
this.
I'm trying to do it
I
now.
don't want
Hold
to fuck anything up.
ended.